scares us just thinking about it. When you hear it, you're gonna think we're insane.
Try us. Please, from the start.
Okay, so the movie starts with a bunch of people talking to the Warrens about Annabelle. Annabelle is a creepy-looking, weird doll that they have for some reason. Why do they have it? Ed Warren is a self-taught demonologist, and Lorraine Warren is a clairvoyant. So they say Annabelle, the doll, is moving around on her own, and they find her in different rooms than they left her in.
A hand or a leg was in a different position, and its head was looking up instead of down, and
Ed asks if maybe somebody has a key to the apartment and is playing a trick on them.
never once did we find any sign or evidence of intrusion.
But the doll is the sign, right? Like the doll being in a different place, that's the evidence that somebody came in there. It's a doll. If they're playing a trick on you, and the trick is to make you think that the doll is moving around on its own, then they're probably not going to leave any sign of intrusion. Lorraine says, and all this led you to believe that the doll was possessed? And the girl says, yes.
And this all led you to believe that the doll was possessed?
Yes.
You find the doll in a different place than you left it, and you think it's possessed? So the people say that they got a medium. And the medium says
We learned from her that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins had died in this apartment.
that there's a ghost of a 7-year-old girl who died in the apartment, and she was lonely and took a liking to the doll.
When we heard this, we felt really sorry for her. I mean, we're nurses. We help people.
Then the woman says,
We gave her permission to move into the doll.
Wait. You did what?
what the fuck? Where's the rest of that story? A medium tells you that there's a little dead girl in your apartment who likes a doll, and you give her permission to live in the doll? Then the other lady says, but then things got worse. Worse than the doll moving around? I don't know. Then we get a flashback. It's the two women coming home. They're opening the door, they're laughing, and then they get real quiet because they find a note, and it says, "Miss me?" written in red crayon. They see Annabelle sitting in the hallway with some red crayons, and they're freaked out because they left her in the spare room.
When we came home, she was sitting in the hallway. But we had left her in the spare room.
Why are they freaked out? This is after the medium already told them the reason the doll is moving around by itself is because your apartment has a dead 7-year-old girl in it who likes playing with the doll. So that's no big deal. And then they said she could live in the doll. So if they come home and they see the doll sitting in the hallway, that's just like coming home and finding a kid in the hallway, right? If anything, they should be freaked out if it doesn't move. So they go into the spare room, and there's red crayon all over the walls. And it's not drawings or anything like you'd expect from a 7-year-old. It's just long, scribbly lines. Stuff is knocked over. There's a flickering lamp on the ground. The crayon goes up to the ceiling. And on the ceiling, it says, "Miss me?" Just like on the note. So they should just be mad because it's a little girl. And they should just be like, that wasn't cool. You're not supposed to do that. Don't do that again. Instead, Debbie, the one that owns the doll, who she thinks a little girl is inhabiting, she takes the doll and she throws it in the dumpster.
We're nurses. We help people.
Cut to later that night. The two women wake up to pounding on their door. They're both wearing pajamas like they're 6 years old. They don't say anything to each other, which is weird. They don't say who's there. They don't say anything. And there's no way a doll pounds that hard. They're supposed to believe it's a 7-year-old living in a doll pounding on the door. So Debbie answers the door, and it's just the "Miss Me" note. Just then, there's a pounding on the door in the hallway. They still exchange no words. The woman in the hallway, standing next to the door that just pounded right next to her, she opens the door. Again, without saying anything to each other, without running out of the apartment screaming, she opens the door, and then she gasps. Okay, flashback over. Now we're back talking to the Warrens. She says, "We don't know what's going on or what to do, but you just told them what's going on, which is what you should be doing." Ed says, "We can help. First of all, there was no little girl named Annabelle."
Firstly, there's no such thing as Annabelle, and there never was.
Ghosts don't possess such power. I think what we have here is something extremely manipulative.
If it was manipulative, wouldn't it pretend to be like a good 7-year-old kid and try to win you over and get you to do stuff? Why would it misbehave? Ed says, "It was a big mistake acknowledging that doll." Acknowledging.
Through that, the inhuman spirit tricked you. You gave it permission to infest your lives.
The blonde woman says, What's an inhuman spirit? Well, you're talking to two demonologists. What do you think it is? Ed says, it's something that's never walked the earth in human form. It's something demonic. They go on to say that the doll isn't possessed because demons possess people, not things.
Demonic spirits don't possess things. They possess people.
It just moved around to give the impression of possession, and that what it really wanted was to possess one of the women.
So the doll was never possessed.
No, it was used as a conduit.
Then why would it want to give the impression of possession? Why would it want to give the impression of a 7-year-old ghost girl? So then it shows Annabelle again, and she's all fucked up looking. Why would Debbie have that? Not just because she's a grown woman who moved into an apartment with her friend and decided to bring her doll. Why would she have that doll? It's not a comforting doll by any means. So then it cuts to Ed and Lorraine, and it's like a seminar. They're speaking to a whole auditorium of people. And everything that we just saw was the story that they were recounting to all these people. So it was like a flashback where one of the characters that isn't one of the people telling the story has a flashback. That is like, we got a priest to perform a blessing on the apartment and the occupants. So whatever was oppressing that apartment is no longer with them. They don't say why that works, but okay, that was easy. He says, any questions? Like 100 people raise their hand. He selects one of them just vaguely, then suddenly everyone's hands are down.
Yes.
Where's the doll now?
The person asks where Annabelle is now, and Lorraine says,
Someplace safe.
And then text comes on the screen and it says since the 1960s, they've been known as the world's most renowned paranormal investigators. Lorraine is a gifted clairvoyant, and Ed is the only non-ordained demonologist recognized by the Catholic Church. That part is in real life. That's a real thing. Okay, so then we cut to 1971, Harrisville, Rhode Island. And there's a family pulling up to their house. And it's not important, but they're all singing John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith.
Here we are.
Which is a song that repeats. How long are they singing that for? So the family is a mom and a dad, 5 kids, all girls, and a dog. So as they're moving in, their dog won't go into the house. This doesn't alarm any of them. They don't even really notice.
All right, suit yourself.
Then we hear one of the kids saying,
Where's my wind chime? Have you seen my wind chime? Hey, Mom, can I get my wind chime?
do you think the wind chime might come up later? The little sister says, hey, look what I found. It's a music box with a mirror in it. I wonder if that'll come up later. 2 of the girls are spinning a third girl who is blindfolded. She's supposed to keep spinning while counting to 10, and then try to find her sisters while still blindfolded. She hilariously spins into a piece of furniture.
7.
She says, okay, clap.
Okay, clap.
So the blindfolded one is going to find them by using echolocation. Then she trips over a fucking box. The mom says, you don't know a house well enough. Someone's gonna get hurt. Yeah, or some stuff's gonna get broken. It's a terrible game. The blindfolded girl says second clap, and this part was confusing because the second clap sounds like it comes from right behind her, and right behind her is one of her sisters. But apparently this one, like, fake claps, because the mom is like, that's cheating, and she's like, shut the fuck up. So the clap that sounded like it came from right behind her wasn't that sister. So the blindfolded one turns around, because she also heard the clap coming from right behind her, and then she finds a doorknob in this new house that they haven't lived in before. So she opens the door and it's a closet, and the other sister is in there. Then the blindfolded girl says, clap, real confidently.
Clap.
Like, you're fucking busted. The hiding sister claps, and the blindfolded one inexplicably lunges forward with her hands out while yelling, got you, and she shoves her sister into the wall, breaking it.
Gotcha!
Do you know what you don't see a lot of blind people do? Take sudden leaps. So I guess it's like blindfolded hide and seek tag. The dad says, all right, what did we break now?
All right, what do we break now?
My fault.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
And it's one board knocked out of place in a closet in their piece of shit house. If he replaces it with a new board, the new board will be the nicest part of the whole house. But you can see that there's a space behind these boards. So the dad asks the kids to go get him some matches. As he's looking in, the other boards just start to come off, like fall out of place. The mom shows up and the dad tells her, I think we have a cellar. The kid returns with the matches, and all the boards are just gone, like they were just stacked there. not nailed. So the dad lights a match, and he's gonna go down into the cellar. And he's walking through a disgusting amount of cobwebs. And I don't know, dude, maybe it's blocked off for a reason. Maybe there's mold down there. Maybe the stairs are broken. Somebody boarded it off. The mom asks what's down there.
It's an old piano and a whole bunch of garbage.
So totally worth it. He comes back up and he says to the mom, I'll check it out in the morning. That's all that needed to happen in the first place. We didn't even get anything out of it as viewers. Like, nothing scary happened. They could have just cut to him being like, I'll check it out in the morning. It would have left some mystery at least. It's night now. The dog is still outside. The mom and the dad are on the second floor looking out their window at the dog. The dog is barking at them. Not barking in general, not barking at a cat, barking at them, like their house is on fire. The dad says, I tried to bring her in. She won't come in. She's fine. Apparently, none of the kids give a shit about the dog. The mom asks the dad if he's down to christen.
You still too fried to christen the new house?
So they fuck. And I'm only telling you that because it comes up the next morning. The mom wakes up with a big bruise on her shin. She starts walking around, waking up the kids and asking them how they slept. The kids say, it's cold.
How did you guys sleep?
I'm cold.
It is chilly, isn't it?
The older sister comes out of the bathroom. She says something smelled funky in her room last night. It smelled like something died.
And there was this really funky smell in my bedroom last night. It reeked like something died.
The mom asks if the smell is still there, and the daughter says no. So the mom says, problem solved.
Is it still there?
No.
Problem solved.
Which I get is like a funny mom response. But it's their first night in their new house, and they found a hidden cellar. So you might want to take note of the random smells of death. She finds her husband in the basement screwing in a light bulb, and he has a flashlight. You fucking kidding me? Why did he wait to use the flashlight till morning? Why didn't he get the flashlight instead of the matches? The basement has windows, so how did they not know it was there? The dad says he'll be up in a minute because he wants to see if he can get the furnace working.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's freezing.
Yeah.
So did they move into this house with all their stuff and their 5 kids and their dog without knowing if it had a furnace? Because the furnace is in the basement. They didn't know there was a basement. How are they planning to heat their giant, drafty house? The dad comes in the kitchen and the mom says the clock in the kitchen and the one in the hallway both stopped at 3:07 a.m. The dad says that's weird. Maybe it got knocked around in the move.
Maybe you got knocked around on the move.
Fair enough if it's just one clock. But two clocks got broken in the same way at the same time, but they drop it immediately to talk about the mom's bruise.
Speaking of knocked around, what did you do to me last night?
So they bail themselves out of that one. This movie's gonna do that a lot. Anytime it hits a dead end with like, oh, that doesn't make any fucking sense, it just bails itself out. So just then, the little girl outside screams. She found the dog and it's dead. You tied your dog up outside your first night on your new large wooded property. You can't be that surprised if something kills it during the night. Cut back to the Warrens' house. Ed is giving some guy a tour of their museum.
Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, or has been used in some kind of ritualistic practice.
The guy says, why don't you just burn all this stuff?
Sometimes it's better to keep the genie in the bottle.
Ed says it's better to keep all the demons and spirits and shit in their vessels, and if you burn them, that'll just release them. So this is some serious shit, because this is a lot of stuff in a tiny room. So a fire or a burglary could have major repercussions. You're not even supposed to touch this stuff. That's how dangerous it is.
Don't touch it. Oh.
He doesn't mention that in real life. The reason they have all this stuff, that's super dangerous. People pay to get tours of their museum. There's even a story about a guy who toured the museum, ignored the warnings not to mess with stuff, taunted the Annabelle doll, and then died in a motorcycle crash after. Which means one of 3 things. 1, it's a bullshit story. 2, a guy did tour the museum, and he did die in a motorcycle accident. But it's total coincidence, and they're just capitalizing on it. 3, the doll is actually possessed and killed a guy for taunting it. And they're still allowed to keep it and charge people to see it. Anyway, the guy wants to see Annabelle.
Say, is the Annabelle doll here?
She's in a glass case with a sign on it that says, do not open. The guy is like, you said she's a conduit, right? What does that mean?
A very powerful demonic has latched itself onto her.
So not the brightest demon. The guy says, how do you keep these demons from latching on to you? Ed says, we take great precaution. The guy says, what about your wife?
But what about your wife?
Which is not a sentence you say like that.
What about her? Well, Father Gordon told me that...
Then Ed interrupts him and says, what happened to my wife happened during an exorcism. It's different. The guy says, how's it different? Which is a great question, but we don't know how to answer it. So, the movie bails itself out by having Judy, the Warren's daughter, sneak into the room. Also, remember the part where the guy's like, Father Gordon told me, and then Ed interrupts him? Father Gordon is like the Warren's hookup to the church. He's their guy. And apparently he's just gossiping about them, and they don't bring it up later. Anyway, Ed is like, what are you doing in here? You can't come in here. Did you touch anything? Don't touch anything.
What, did you touch anything?
No.
Remember, you can't come in here. Okay? See you later.
You can't go into this room no matter what, remember?
Yes, Dad.
All right.
This room is full of cool shit and toys. And her parents are telling her, you can't go in there. So of course she's going to want to go in there. She's going to want to go in there her whole life. This little girl should not even know that this room exists. Next scene, Ed brings Lorraine tea. He tells her talking to the guy went well. And we find out the guy is a reporter writing an article about them.
Oh, I think he may write a positive article.
Ooh, a non-skeptic.
And then they have an awkward exchange of glances. And she says, stop blaming yourself. So I guess she was reading his mind or something. And the scene should have ended right there, but it doesn't. It sits there for a second, and then she sips the tea, and she's like, ugh.
No sugar.
And that's the end of the scene. What the fuck was that? Why is that in there? Cut back to the family in the shitty house. We see the clock stops. It's 3:07 a.m. 2 girls are asleep in their room, each in their own bed, about 6 feet apart from each other. One girl gets yanked. Pretty good. She doesn't react really. She doesn't even open her eyes. She just says, not funny, Nancy.
Not funny, Nancy.
What?
I shouldn't have to point this out, but when Nancy says what, she says it from her face, which is like 6 feet away. So you know she's over there.
What?
Stop grabbing my foot.
Nancy says, shut up, I didn't do anything.
Shut up, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, right.
Neither one of them are alarmed by the foot grabbing. The first girl says, and stop farting.
Stop farting. It really stinks.
Nancy says, don't blame that on me. It's you.
It's you. Yeah.
End scene. Next scene. Staticky TV, thumping sounds. Straight out of Paranormal Activity. The dad is passed out on his desk, and the thumping wakes him up. He sees a door start to slowly open itself. But as he goes to walk towards it, it's almost closed again. He checks it out, and there's an open window and a breeze. So I guess he's like, oh, it was the wind. But just then he hears another loud thud. He finds his oldest daughter on the stairs, and she says, it's Cindy. She's in my room. She's sleepwalking again. Cindy is sleepwalking, but she's also like sleep banging her head into a giant wardrobe. And the dad just ushers her off to bed. The next morning, it's time for more non-stop bullshit. The mom says to the dad,
She's sleepwalking again? She hasn't done that for a while.
the dad notices a big bruise on the mom's back. And she goes, huh, that's weird. So the dad leaves the house to go to work, and a bird smashes into his house, breaking its own neck. And it's just flapping around on the ground, a little bit alive still. And the dad just kind of stands there and looks at it. And then who knows, because the scene just ends. The next shot is for the kids walking down a long driveway towards the school bus. And I guess none of them said goodbye to their mom on what I think is their first day of school. Because she comes running out of the house and she's yelling, bye, love you. Cindy, do you have your lunch?
Cindy, you have your lunch? Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. So inside we can hear the youngest daughter, April, and she's saying,
I miss Sadie a lot. She was my best friend.
Sadie, in case you forgot, is the fucking dog. The family dog that died the first night they were there, and no one has really said a word about it. The mom opens the door and sees that April is sitting by herself. The mom says, "Who are you talking to?" April says, "Rory. He's my new friend. Do you want to see him?" The mom says, "Yeah. How?"
Yeah, do you want to see him?
Yeah? How?
With this.
You wouldn't say how. You wouldn't say how. April says, "With this." And she hands her mom the music box that April found when they moved in. Top flips open and has a mirror in it. April says, "When the music stops, you'll see him in the mirror behind you." And the mom is just like, "Okay." And she does it with a big dumb smile on her face. And the mirror has like a hypnosis swirl on it. And there's a little clown that pops up and down while it's playing the music. And only about halfway through does the mom realize, like, what the fuck am I doing? Because she starts to get a nervous look on her face. And the music stops.
Boo, Mommy!
Which is such a good prank. Then April says, "Mom, do you want to play hide and clap with me?" Not only is hide and clap the dumbest fucking game ever, but are you really going to play with April? But the mom is like, "Okay, you can blindfold me even though you're the only other person here. And you were just talking to yourself about our dead dog. And you just fucking scorched me with the best prank ever pulled off by a child." So April goes and hides. On the first clap, the mom knocks over a bunch of shit. And runs into a banister, which is lucky because it's the only thing keeping her from falling to the first floor.
Second clap.
Second clap, she wanders into the room with the wardrobe. We see the wardrobe doors open behind her. And she says, "Third clap." 2 arms come out from behind the clothes and clap. And it's supposed to be creepy, but it's fucking silly. It seems like something Bugs Bunny would do, or like Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat. She wanders over there and she sticks her arm right into the clothes.
I can hear you breathing. April.
And then April pops into the room and she's like, "Haha, not even close. I was in the other room. I win." And they show the mom is confused and rattled a little bit. But that's the end of the scene. They did the creepy hide and clap thing. That's all they wanted to do. So the scene's over. We don't need to know how the mom shook that one off. How she went about the rest of her day with the insane fucking hallucination she just had. They should have at least made her like a drunk or something where she could be like, ugh. Anyway, later that night, the dad is on the phone. He's a trucker and he needs work.
I gotta have some routes or I'm gonna lose the insurance on the rig.
He tells the person on the phone, "That's half my rate."
Well, that's like half my rate, man.
All right, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
And I don't get what's happening. He's taking a shitty route for half his rate? Are they struggling financially? Why did they get a house? How did they get a house?
It's Florida. It's a week turnaround. I start tomorrow.
He's gonna be gone a week, starting tomorrow. Into the kids' room. And the kid that gets their foot yanked gets their foot yanked again. And Nancy must be a relentless bully in real life because this kid is sure that it's Nancy doing this.
Stop it, Nancy. It's not funny anymore.
So she gets her foot yanked again, a little bit harder. And she actually sits up, like, wait a minute, Nancy is way over there. But instead of talking to Nancy about it, she decides to quietly look under her bed. While looking under her bed, she sees the door move a little bit. The girl that gets her foot yanked is named Christine. And she says, "There's someone behind the door."
There's someone standing over there.
It's pitch black behind the door. But Nancy's like, psh, she just walks over there without turning the light on.
Nancy, don't. Nancy. No, look. Look.
She just walks into the darkness. And she's like, there's definitely nobody over here. But man, it sure does smell like farts.
Ugh. It's that smell again.
Oof, it smells really bad. I'm just gonna stand here for a while. I'm really gonna take it in. Christine says,
Oh my God.
"It's right behind you." Both girls start screaming, Parents get up. They run to the room. Christina's crying and saying there's someone else in the room. Nancy isn't saying or doing anything. Christine tells her parents, "It talked to me. It said it wants my family dead."
It wants my family dead.
And then the scene ends. We don't need to know what happened after that. We don't need to know what the fuck the parents thought about that, or how the kids went back to bed. So now we're back at the Warrens' house.
Mr. Winston! Winston!
Ed is about to leave, and Lorraine says, "Where are you going?"
I just gotta run to the store for a few things.
He's lying, and she says, "I don't know why you try."
In 15 years, have you ever been able to lie to me?
So that's a fun marriage. Turns out Father Gordon called, and he has a case for them. Ed was going to go check it out by himself, and then I guess pick up a few things after to try to make it seem like he just ran to the store quick. He wants to go alone because he's afraid of it happening again. Something happened to Lorraine. Remember? The guy that asked about his wife? Something happened, but it was during an exorcism. It's different. Lorraine is like, "I'm going."
Lorraine, myself.
I'm going with you.
And they both just walk away from their kid without saying anything. Lorraine says, "Do you remember what you said to me on our wedding night?"
Do you remember what you said to me on our wedding night?
And he's like, "Can we do it again?"
Can we do it again?
And she's like, "Ha," after that. And he doesn't say anything, so I guess he doesn't remember.
You said that God brought us together for a reason, right?
So I guess they got married and then fucked. And then he started talking about God, and he doesn't remember it.
I'm gonna get dressed.
So they go to check out the case, and guess what? It's not even the fucking family that we've been following. So it's like a scene that I think is trying to legitimize the Warrens. The whole scene is them telling some stupid couple that their house isn't haunted, and that usually there's a rational explanation. Back at the family's house, the mom has another bruise. Mild concern. She's doing laundry late at night, and she hears a child giggle. Then she hears clap, clap. She says, "Girls, it's way past your bedtime." She checks their rooms, and they're all asleep. Just then, there's a loud, shattering sound. All the framed pictures of the family along the staircase, they've all fallen and shattered. And when this happens, it's loud. It's maybe the loudest thing that's happened in the movie so far, and it's clearly meant just to startle the audience, because none of the kids wake up. The mom is alarmed, but I guess more curious than concerned, because she decides to investigate. I don't know if they knew this back then, but if somebody breaks in their house in the middle of the night and starts smashing your stuff, it's usually not Girl Scouts. It's usually an aggressive, possibly sexually motivated man. But the mom looks around and she hears clap, clap again. A game that she plays with her daughters, who are all asleep. She says, "Who is that?" And she charges into the darkness.
Who is that?
I don't know why she doesn't call the cops. She doesn't call anyone. She hears the door to the cellar creak and she goes to check it out. So she peeks down there. She doesn't see anything, but she yells.
Who's ever down there? I'm gonna lock you in now.
Which, don't tell them. Just do it. The door slams in her face and knocks her down the stairs. And then something throws a ball towards her and smashes the light bulb. She finally runs up the stairs and starts screaming. And we hear the child laughing again. She stops screaming immediately. She said, "Andrea, help," and that's it. She finds the matches at the top of the stairs that the dad used earlier. So she lights a match. She can't see anything, of course. She hears, "Want to play hide and clap?"
Hey, wanna play hide and clap?
And two hands appear to the darkness and clap right next to her head. Then from outside in the hallway, we see the door rattling as if she's fighting to open it, but that's it. We don't hear her screaming or anything. And as I pause it here, I see that there's still an hour and 11 minutes left. There's no fucking way she stays in the house after this, right? Cut to upstairs. Cindy is sleepwalking and banging her head against the wardrobe again.
Cindy?
So Andrea goes to grab Cindy to bring back to bed with her. Then she hears banging coming from the wardrobe. She also decides to investigate this herself. Cindy sits up like she's possessed. Andrea throws the wardrobe doors open. Nothing there. She looks up and there's like a creepy grandma up there. She pounces on Andrea. Just then, the dad is getting home. After being on the road for a week on some shit route to Florida for half his rate, and you can tell he probably just wants to get inside and go to bed. Nope. He gets home and hears screaming coming from inside his house. He goes inside. He finds his wife locked in the closet that goes down to the basement. They run upstairs and find all 5 of their kids awake, and Andrea's rolling around on the floor screaming. And they're all crying.
What happened?
The dad says, "Somebody goddamn it tell me what's going on here."
Somebody goddamn it, tell me what's going on here!
But we don't get to see them telling him anything. We don't get to see what it would be like for his wife to tell him something smashed all the pictures on the staircase. Something slammed a door in my face. Something locked me in the basement. Something asked me if I want to play hide and clap and then clap next to my fucking head. We don't get to hear Andrea telling her parents. Some fucking lady just jumped on me from the top of the wardrobe. So let's just assume they talked about it. So cut to Ed and Lorraine giving a lecture at a university. He's showing footage on a projector of some guy who's convulsing, kind of. He says, "Take Maurice here, a French-Canadian farmer with no more than a 3rd grade education, yet after he was possessed, spoke some of the best Latin I'd ever heard. Sometimes backwards." And I know he's supposed to be like a demonologist, but I don't give a fuck who you are. You don't recognize Latin backwards. Then Lorraine says, "Look, now he's crying blood. And look, now an upside-down cross starts forming inside his body." And of course it isn't actual footage. That doesn't exist. They turn on the lights. Everybody raises their hands. They don't pick anyone. Some girl just asks a question as if picked.
Did you personally perform the exorcism?
Ed says, "No, I'm not authorized. I just assist because exorcisms are dangerous." And it cuts to Lorraine, just in case you forgot. Something happened. They haven't told us what it is yet. And then Ed proceeds, without letting any of the other 100 people ask questions.
To the 3 stages of demonic activity: infestation, oppression, and possession.
We see Mom from the family is there. So then cut to the Warrens. They're outside. They're packing up their shit in their car. And Drew walks up. Drew is like their assistant guy. I don't think we've seen him yet, but we've heard his name.
All right, that's good, Drew. Drew, you can hit the lights.
And he says, "Ed, Lorraine."
There's someone here that would like to talk to you.
Oh, hi.
Thanks, Drew.
Sure. I'll see you later.
He doesn't explain shit. He doesn't introduce her. He's just like, I don't know, someone wants to talk to you, and he fucking bails. So the mom tells Ed and Lorraine, "You have to come to my house."
"There's something horrible happening in my house. Could you come and take a look?"
The mom says, "You have a daughter? Wouldn't you do anything to protect her?" And the Warrens are like, "Oh shit, we do have a daughter, huh?"
"You have a daughter. Wouldn't you do anything you could to protect her? Please."
But they're like, "Yeah. Alright, we'll come to your house." So the Warrens show up, and they're introduced to the dad, and Lorraine is acting very weird. There's a smell of rotten meat that moves around the house. Ed says, "Why don't you move out?"
You know, with all that's been going on, why haven't you just moved out?
And the dad says,
"And I don't know anybody who's gonna take in a family of 7 indefinitely."
Indefinitely? They don't have any family or friends that they could stay with? At the very least, they could send the youngest ones to. Lorraine is talking to April about Rory, and she does the music box thing. And she sees the singer of My Chemical Romance in the mirror. The dad tells them that they bought the house at auction, so they didn't know shit about the house. Ed and Lorraine think that the house needs an exorcism. The dad says, "I thought that was something you do to people." Lorraine says, "No, not necessarily, no."
Demonic spirits don't possess things. They possess people. No, not necessarily, no.
And Lorraine says she sees a dark entity that haunts the house and the land. And wherever they go, it'll be latched on to them, feeding off them. And Ed, the professional demonologist and lecturer, he says,
"Sometimes when you get haunted, it's like stepping on gum."
Ed says the church has to authorize it first. So, they need to gather evidence and provide proof. And that's the hard part. I bet it is. So now we're back at the Warrens' house. Judy, their daughter, is giving Lorraine a locket. Judy and her grandma went and got 2 of these lockets. One is for Judy, which has a picture of her parents in it, presumably because she never sees them. And then she gave a locket with a picture of herself in it to her mom, presumably to remind her mom that they have a daughter.
I miss you and Daddy.
But Ed comes walking in, and he tells Lorraine that the recording that they made earlier, it didn't pick up the mom's voice at all.
From the first occurrence. Nothing.
And then he says to Lorraine, what have you got? And Lorraine says, lots. She says the house was built in 1863 by a man named Judson Sherman, and he was married to a woman named Bathsheba. Jedson and Bathsheba had a baby, and when it was just 7 days old, Jedson caught Bathsheba sacrificing it in front of the fireplace. She ran out to that tree by the dock, climbed up, proclaimed her love to Satan, and cursed anyone who tried to take her land, and hung herself. The time of death was 3:07 a.m. Lorraine says her last name's Walker. She lived there in the 30s. She had a boy named Rory who mysteriously disappeared in the woods. Then she killed herself in the cellar. And a woman who worked as a maid in a neighboring home, she killed herself too.
People who took her land.
What about you, Ed? What did you do? Ed listened to the first 5 seconds of a tape that he made earlier, and the tape didn't even work.
Nothing.
Just then, the tape starts playing itself.
I'm sitting here with a terrible parent with a family.
It's playing the sounds of ghost porn. Back at the family's house, Ed, Lorraine, and Drew are there, and a cop shows up.
Officer Brad Hamilton, Harrisville, Rhode Island, PD.
Nice to meet you, man.
His name is Brad, but he reminds me of Officer Doofy, so I'm gonna call him Doofy for the rest of this.
You're the lucky new cop, huh?
Guess so.
You know you can't shoot ghosts, right?
They're all there. She starts setting up equipment around the house to try to capture whatever's going on. So then we get a montage of the Warrens and Drew home aloneing the house. They're setting traps, they're setting up temperature cameras, they put little bells on all the door handles. Because I guess demons can open doors and pull on children's legs, but they can't hold a bell still while they open a door. They're not fucking cats. So then outside, Ed and the dad walk by an old car. And then the dad says, it needs work. And then Ed doesn't say anything. He doesn't give a shit.
Kind of put fixing her up on hold for a while.
Yeah.
So then the dad asks Ed what the cameras do.
Oh, when there's an instant drop in temperature, a thermostat triggers the camera to take a picture.
And the dad says, you've actually caught these things on film? Which is a natural question. Then Ed responds, well, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
Like it's a stupid question. If those things work, then the dad should have seen a picture by now. Everyone should have. There would be photographers just for ghosts. They would build their whole career. Their whole portfolio would just be pictures of famous dead people or any dead people. So they're outside by the big creepy tree, and Dad says, why out here? And then Ed says, this is where the witch committed. So it's official that she's a witch now. And one of the major criticisms of this movie that no one talks about is this movie is saying that the Salem witch trials were right. Just then, Lorraine touches a picture of the family at the beach and the mom's hand. And she says, nice day at the beach, huh? Mom says, how did you know?
It's an insight. It's like a peek through the curtain into another person's life.
And they don't get into that enough. So then the mom starts talking about the beach day, and Lorraine is checking her out hard.
Nancy pointed out how pretty the view was. I thought
there are occasional charged moments between Lorraine and the mom, but then there's really something going on with the dad and Ed. I feel like the movie's implying that there's some sort of secret love story going on between the dad and Ed. I'll show you what I mean later. So then we cut to Drew, and he's gaming on the oldest daughter, and he's using their special forensic lights. He's showing her that it can illuminate recent handprints. And even though they're digging each other here, it doesn't come up again. Sorry, Drew. But then a door moves, and we hear a bell chime, and everyone freezes. But it's just Doofy. Did he open the door before flushing the toilet? And he's walking out backwards, drying his hands with a towel, and then he just throws it back in there somewhere.
What?
So then we see that the rooms are all mic'd up, and the audio is coming in clear.
All the rooms are coming in pretty good.
So Ed is unpacking his equipment, and the dad is like, what's that? And it's a tiny little bottle of holy water. Not like a big liter bottle or a super soaker. So they go into the kitchen, and Officer Doofy is recording a cup of coffee for some reason. So then they see the cellar door start to open up by itself, and one of the cameras flashes. So then Doofy's recording as the Warrens go into the basement with a mic and ask the spirit if it wants to communicate.
Give us a sign that you want to communicate with us.
Ed walks around, deliberately putting the mic up to things that make noise. The subtitles even say, water running in pipes. The noise was loud enough that they thought they'd let deaf people know. He puts the mic up against the furnace. Lorraine is hunched over. She says, there's definitely something in here.
There's definitely something here.
And like 15 seconds after Lorraine said, there's something in here, they're like, no, it's gone.
Well, like I said, it doesn't always work when you want it to.
But what didn't work when they wanted it to? It's the first night. A door opened on its own. A bell dinged. The temperature camera was set off and took a picture. Lorraine felt that something was there. They haven't listened to the recording or developed the picture yet. Did he expect it to show up in person and talk to them? What didn't work? And then right after he says this, the door slams behind them. So then Drew says to Doofy,
Looked a little freaked out when that door slammed shut.
And Doofy says, I believe the clock. It's 3:08 a.m. So the clocks didn't stop at 3:07 this time. So Doofy doesn't believe in this stuff. Yet. The next morning, everyone's having breakfast. Like everyone. The family, the Warrens, Doofy, and the next shot is Lorraine outside hanging sheets on a clothesline. She's doing laundry her first morning at someone else's house.
You're funny.
Ed starts talking to her about what a nice family and what a nice property. And oh, April, the little girl, she brought me pancakes.
Yeah, that little one. April. So you bring me pancakes?
Yeah.
And it makes you think like, oh yeah, I hope someday the Warrens settle down and get a house like this and have a little family. And then you remember they have a fucking daughter.
This way we'll always be together. You'll be with me and I'll be with you.
They don't remember. It gets cloudy and windy. And now we see why they had Lorraine doing laundry at someone else's house by herself with no one else around, because one of the sheets comes off the line and hits a ghost and then flies up to the window of the house. And then after the sheet blows away, Lorraine can see somebody in the window. A ghost person. Now inside, the mom is either napping or passed out drunk. And being passed out drunk almost makes more sense, because she's got her daytime clothes on and she is passed out on a made bed. She wakes up screaming. We see the mom's point of view, and the witch is right above her. She starts puking blood into the mom's mouth. Lorraine runs into the house and upstairs, and she can hear the mom retching. But then the mom opens the door, and Lorraine is like, are you okay? And the mom says, yeah, I just woke up feeling nauseous. Lorraine says, I thought I saw something, but the mom interrupts, and it is a master class in blowing someone off.
I thought I saw
I hear Roger and the girls. 1 minute.
Dad gets home and sees Ed working on the Chevy, which is cool, but weird, right? He's not a mechanic. Does he know shit about cars? I guess he has all the things that he needs to work on this car, because I don't work on cars, But even I know you need a bunch of tools and sprays and towels and shit. Not just a couple tools.
Hey, hand me a wrench, would you?
So then the dad says, thanks for coming and helping. It means a lot to the whole family. You know, the family that the Warrens like so much. April, the one that brought him pancakes. Ed says, I can't take credit. That's all Lorraine. I didn't want to come.
That's all Lorraine. I didn't want to.
So instead of saying, you're welcome, it's no big deal, this is what we do, or just, I can't take the credit, it was all Lorraine. You felt the need to add on, I didn't want to. The dad says, why is that? And then we finally get the story of what's going on with Lorraine, why the camera keeps cutting to Lorraine, what everybody keeps interrupting each other about. Ed says, whatever Lorraine does, it takes a little piece of her each time. A couple months ago, they were working on a case, and it took a big piece. The footage that we see during this explanation shows a guy who's possessed and going through an exorcism. And Lorraine is right up in the dude's face. She's like wiping sweat off his forehead for some reason, just trying to keep him comfortable while a demon is being exorcised from his body. The guy grabs her and just looks at her, and she screams a lot. She screams because when he looked at her, she saw something really bad, I guess. So bad that when they got home, she locked herself in their room.
Didn't talk, didn't eat, didn't come out for 8 days.
And I guess Ed just waited? How long was he going to wait? 8 days is a long fucking time. Not eating or talking. Wouldn't you assume they were dead? So the dad says, what'd she see? Ed says, I don't know. And then he says,
and I won't ask.
Which I like. I like that. You should be able to have some traumatic experiences that you don't have to share with anybody. You just have it. And that's yours. Cut to later that night, and Officer Doofy is in the kitchen pouring himself a cup of coffee when he hears the barely audible wind chimes outside. And this alerts him for some reason. Why? They're wind chimes outside. That's what they're supposed to do. But it alerts him enough to look out the window, and he can see a rocking chair slightly rocking. Which also shouldn't be that strange, because the wind chimes mean that it's windy. So maybe it's windy enough to make the rocking chair move a little bit. And then he hears a woman whisper, look what she made me do.
Look what she made me do.
And he doesn't freak the fuck out. And he sees what is clearly a ghost woman, but I guess he thinks it's just a lost lady. She shows him her slit wrists, and then she just walks away. And instead of being terrified like a normal person, or reacting like a cop, which he is, he just goes, hey, and he walks after her.
Hey.
He was on alert by the wind chimes and the rocking chair, but not threatened at all by the whispering, bleeding home intruder that just disappeared behind a sheet. Then the movie does this thing that it does where it tries to jump scare you by just being loud.
Ed?
Look what you made me do!
So then Doofy screams for Ed, and everybody runs into the room. Doofy says, there was a woman dressed as a maid, and he doesn't finish the sentence.
There was a woman dressed as a maid.
Nothing interrupts him, so I'm guessing that's all the line was in the script. And then one of the temperature-sensitive cameras goes off, and we see Cindy sleepwalking again. The dad says, why is it taking pictures of Cindy?
Somebody's with her.
Which is a cool idea. It's a nice touch, right? They're temperature-sensitive cameras. Why is it taking a picture of a normal person as she walks by them? There must be something with her. That's creepy. But then they immediately ruin that by having the dad say, who?
Somebody's with her. Who?
They all watch her walk up the stairs knowing something is with her. She goes into the room with the big wardrobe, and the door slams behind her. Only then do they go after her. Drew is listening to the mics that they set up in the room, and he says there's something in there with her.
There's someone else in there with her.
Suddenly, the door opens by itself. The dad and Ed run in to look for Cindy, but they don't turn the light on. Lucky for them, Doofy is following them, and he turns the light on. Ed goes and checks the closed and locked windows. In a room full of hiding places, the first place Ed checks is maybe she went out the window. After checking underneath the bed, the dad says to Ed, "Where did she go, Ed?" And then where does Ed look? He goes and looks under the bed. So then the dad finally does the obvious thing, and he goes and checks the wardrobe, but she's not in there. So then Ed tells Doofy to go get the UV light.
Drew, I need a UV light.
And Drew is like, and he looks around for a second, and then he finds it. But Drew was listening to the mics in that room, so he should have known already that Doofy was coming downstairs to get the UV light. Was he not really listening? So Ed turns on the UV light and he can see handprints on the back panel of the wardrobe, and the panel slides over, revealing a big hole in the wall. And that's where Cindy's hiding. April says to Lorraine,
"That's where Rory hides when he's afraid."
So Lorraine climbs in there, full body, no gear other than a flashlight. Then Lorraine spots a rope. She just starts pulling on it without consulting anyone. And to nobody's surprise, it's a noose. And it must be a really heavy one, because the floor beneath her is devastated. Ed is the only one that reacts, because they've got too many characters in these scenes. There starts to be a lot of standing around and doing nothing and saying nothing. Guess what? Lorraine is fine. She groans for a second, but she's okay. She's so okay that she doesn't even bother telling anyone that she's okay. She's alone, in the dark, in the cellar, at night, and she decides to give the music box another go. In the mirror of the music box, she sees a woman holding a bloody knife and a dead boy. I guess she can feel Lorraine looking at her because she slowly starts to turn around. This makes Lorraine look away from the mirror to look at the woman face to face, but she doesn't see anything because that's not how it works. And you know that. And she goes to put the music box away, and then, oh my God, there she is, right behind the music box. Then there's a creaking noise, and Lorraine looks away from the ghost right in her fucking face, and when she looks back, the ghost lady is gone. All of this is happening in total silence. Nobody's moving around upstairs apparently, even though there's like 20 people in this house. Ed must have given up on looking for her, because like 3 minutes ago, he was already down to the main level of the house, banging on walls and yelling her name. She doesn't hear any of that. She's the floor beneath him. One floor beneath him. Some old dusty planks. And she can't hear that. Suddenly, someone else falls through the floor. That's a coincidence. The other person that fell didn't fall all the way, and we can only see their feet. They are some dirty ass feet. The feet start to turn around and move towards Lorraine. And apparently she does not like feet, because this is the thing that finally causes her to flip the fuck out. She screams, "Ed!" It cuts to Ed, who's still trying to find her in the walls. Doofy and Dad are just NPCs in the background. Lorraine is trying to run away. She finds the stairs, but the ghost grabs her by her locket necklace. The necklace breaks, and the ghost just lets her go. Ed meets Lorraine on the stairs, and Lorraine just keeps repeating, "I know what she did."
I know what she did!
I got you.
I know what she did!
Ed doesn't check to see if she's okay. He's just like, what? What'd she do? Let's get this mystery solved. Lorraine blows right past Ed, the only person looking for her. Lorraine says she possessed the mother to kill the child.
She visits Carolyn every night. That's what the bruise marks are. She's feeding off of her.
A cross starts to shake and then falls. And then Nancy starts to get dragged around by her hair like they're being haunted by a fucking caveman. The dad and Ed dive on Nancy. Lorraine grabs a pair of scissors, and the ghost inexplicably pauses for no reason at all, and Lorraine cuts Nancy's hair, freeing her from the grip of the ghost. How did she know that would work? She's lucky it didn't grab the scissors from her. And if the ghost is that strong, why doesn't it just start throwing people out of the house? Just force them out of your house, if that's what you want. It cuts to the next scene, as if it's the next thing happening. And I don't think that it is. It looks like it's the next day, but the dad pushes the screen door open like he's mad. And he's walking Nancy out, and she still looks shaken up. Everyone is suddenly rushing to leave now. Ed is following them, trying to explain what's going to happen.
We'll have the footage developed and get it over to Father Gordon. He's our liaison to the church.
The dad appears to be blowing him off. Doesn't give a fuck. But then Ed says, listen, Roger. And the dad forgets his traumatized daughter so fast.
Listen, Roger.
Yeah.
Listen, we'll get...
So then we see Lorraine is sitting in the van, and she hears the voice of her daughter Judy say, Mommy. She gets up and walks away from everyone without saying anything, and no one notices. She makes it all the way to the creepy tree in the backyard, and then she hears Mommy again, and it's coming from the creepy dock. And because there's no reason to think that it might be dangerous, she decides to just walk to the end of the dock, totally alone, without telling anyone anything. She sees Judy floating by, just underneath the surface of the water, where a person couldn't be, and I guess she thinks it's actually Judy, because Lorraine reaches into the water to grab her, but she ripples away with the water. She thinks this is her daughter talking to her, clear as day, from underneath water, across a backyard and a front yard. So Lorraine is tripping balls. She runs inside to call her mom and check on Judy. Judy is fine. So then it shows us the family pulling up to a motel, and the mom stays in the car weirdly. The next scene is the Warrens at the church, and they're showing the footage they got to Father Gordon. Instead of, everybody, every news media outlet in the world. And Father Gordon is shook by this footage, like he's trying to catch his breath. Even though he's just been sitting there watching this footage, that is not very scary and could probably easily be faked, but he's clearly disturbed and surely convinced. But Father Gordon says, look, Ed, this is complicated because the kids aren't baptized and the family, they're not members of the church. Ed says, oh, come on.
The family, they're not members of the church.
Oh, come on.
Which would have made me laugh if I was there. Then Father Gordon says, and the approval would have to come directly from the Vatican. Ed says, Father, we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, well, neither have I.
Really? Annabelle? The guy that was speaking Latin backwards? There's nothing special about the pictures. And haven't they done exorcisms, these people? Ed says to Father Gordon. They don't have a lot of time. How does he know? And then Father Gordon says, all right, I'll push it through myself. And the Warrens are like, thank you, thank you.
I'll push it through myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else was going to do it? Weren't they expecting him to take care of it himself? Was he going to hand it off to somebody else to bring to the Vatican? And then Ed says, we'll wait for your call. No shit. What else are you going to do? You can't do exorcisms. So the Warren's daughter, Judy, is asleep in her bed. Her locket is hanging next to her bed, and it starts to sway and then spin around in circles. We see Lorraine's locket back at the haunted house, and it's doing the same thing. Suddenly, Judy gets her feet tugged just like the other girl was. Judy wakes up, and she starts walking around, looking for her mom and dad. We see her grandma. Why doesn't she wake up her grandma? She walks downstairs, she finds the door to the haunted museum thing open. The camera pans to the Annabelle case, and it's empty. Such bullshit. So Judy goes to walk back up the stairs, and the light at the top of the stairs turns off. And the darkness starts to come towards her. Like just darkness. It's actually really well done. They should have done this way more. Okay, so the darkness is coming down the stairs towards Judy, and she runs and hides in some room. She closes the door, there's a loud pounding at the door, and then the lights dim. She turns around, and there's an old woman rocking in a rocking chair and brushing Annabelle's hair. Annabelle turns and looks at Judy. And this part's supposed to be creepy, but it got ruined for me by this video clip.
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Also, this is what the real Annabelle looks like, if we haven't talked about that yet. Judy turns around, starts pounding on the door and screaming for her Nana.
Judy?
Nana wakes up, but she can't get the door open. We see the rocking chair again, still rocking, but now nobody's in it. I guess that's supposed to be more scary, that nobody's in it now. Wasn't it scary before? Judy yells Mom, and Lorraine hears it.
Ed, there's something wrong.
Because she's a clairvoyant or whatever. Just as they're pulling into their driveway, so that's lucky. Ed and Lorraine run in. They hear Judy screaming. They see Nana trying to open the door. They try to open the door. They can't get it open either. The rocking chair turns towards Judy. Ed gets the door open somehow and grabs Judy and pulls her out of the way, just as the chair flies across the room and smashes into pieces against the wall, right where Judy was standing. Judy tells them there was something rocking in the chair with Annabelle. So Ed goes and checks the museum, and Annabelle's still in her case. Lorraine tells Judy, it's okay, it's okay.
It's okay, it's okay.
And it's not okay. Their phone is ringing. Ed picks up. It's Roger, and he tells them that Carolyn took 2 of the kids and she smells like rotten meat. Ed says to Roger, get to the house. I'll meet you there. So then Ed tries to leave and Lorraine says, I'm coming with you. Ed says, no way. You stay here with Judy. Lorraine says, the only way to protect Judy is to stop this thing where it started. Otherwise, she's just going to latch on to us again. This movie doesn't even know what the fuck it's talking about. Them showing up is the only thing that saved Judy. At least one of them needs to be there for their daughter. And it didn't get to their house before they got there because it latched onto them. It traveled through the lockets somehow. The necklaces, that never comes up again. And then we get this exchange of vacuous movie script dialogue. Lorraine says, you think I'm gonna let you walk into this alone? Ed says, I can't lose you. And then Lorraine says,
You won't. Let's finish this together.
So then they leave. They're driving to the house. Their poor daughter just had a traumatic experience. Her parents showed up for 5 seconds, told her it was okay, and then they fucking leave. They leave. They leave her at home with her Nana who couldn't help her, and the fucking doll, Annabelle, still. She lives in the same house. So they drive to the haunted house. Doofy's leading the way. Sirens blaring. They get to the house. Ed and Lorraine run up to the door, but it's locked.
It's locked.
Doofy says, get out of the way. And he cocks a shotgun.
Get out of the way!
Following scene is a mess. So they run into the cellar, and Roger, a grown man, he's holding Carolyn by her right arm, and she's got a pair of scissors in her hands. Drew, also a grown man, he's holding her by her left arm, where she's holding Christine in a chokehold. Doofy actually thinks to grab the scissors away from her hands, and he does it in like 2 seconds. Ed joins Drew, and they get Christine free. And at this moment, April gets scared, and she runs and hides. But why now? Like, help just arrived. A cop is here now. Other people that you know. They got your sister free. They got the scissors away. Things are looking up. Why would she run away now? Ed, talking about Carolyn, says, we gotta get her to the car. Doofy says, and bring her where?
We gotta get her to the car! Bring her where?
The cop just said, and bring her where? After witnessing an attempted murder and prying the would-be murder weapon out of her hand. Where the fuck do you think you need to take her? Take her to jail. At least put her in handcuffs. Mace her. But that's not what Ed was talking about. Ed says, take her to the priest for an exorcism. So Ed has her left arm. Roger has her right arm. Doofy grabs her feet. They're going to carry her up the stairs. She's putting up a fight, kind of. But now she just has like normal strength. Not demon strength anymore. So they get to the top of the stairs. Doofy isn't even holding her by the feet anymore. Roger's just kind of holding her hand at this point. So they get to the doorway, and Carolyn starts burning. Lorraine says the witch won't let Carolyn leave the house. Just then, Carolyn gets pulled out of their hands and flies back onto the floor. She yells Roger, and then she gets dragged down the stairs. So back into the cellar. Roger and Ed are fighting Carolyn. She's beating their asses. Doofy just stands there watching until Ed yells at him to help. So Doofy grabs her, but she bites his face. And he acts like he's being electrocuted or something. His eyes roll up in his head and he yells as he turns away from her slowly. Lorraine easily subdues her with a blanket. I guess sheets have some weird power over ghosts. And I never caught on to that connection before. Lorraine slides a chair over, and then Ed tells Lorraine, get something to tie her up.
Let's get something to tie her up!
I think she knows what the plan is. She's the one sliding the chair over. I'm sure the next thing she was going to do was fucking grab something to tie her up. She throws Ed to the floor, but just then Doofy pops in and handcuffs her hand to the chair. And then he's just done. He just backs away. Ed says, I gotta call Father Gordon. Lorraine says, he's too far away. She won't make it. Look at her.
We gotta call Father Gordon. We gotta get Father Gordon out here.
He's too far away. She won't make it. Look at her.
I don't know, maybe call him anyway. Let him know what's going on. See if he has any ideas. Maybe he knows somebody in the area. So Ed looks at Carolyn wriggling under the sheet, and he has a look on his face like, yeah, you're right. She ain't gonna make it. There's no time. But he can't see her. He can't see her. There's a sheet over her. So Ed says to Lorraine, then you need to leave, which is not a good idea. Because Lorraine is the only one that knows what's going on at any moment, and the only one that knows what to do at any moment. Lorraine says, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I have to do it. The exorcism.
Roger stands up. He says, I thought you said we need a priest. You're not a priest, which is a great point. Right? Ed says...
Well, you got a better idea.
Which isn't the best counterpoint, but I guess. Ed says to Lorraine again, you gotta leave. She says, I'm not leaving you. He says, I'm not doing this with you here. And then Lorraine says...
God brought us together for a reason. This is it.
And don't you just fucking hate that? He said that to her one time, and it was probably just to be romantic, right? Like it was their wedding night. And he said to his new wife, God brought us together for a reason. And she locked that one away, boy. Ed takes his cross necklace out from underneath his shirt. I guess it doesn't work as good under your clothes. So then it shows us Drew is upstairs looking for April. Still can't find her. Lorraine comes back and hands the book to Ed. He looks like he's reading it for the first time. So that doesn't inspire confidence. He speaks some Latin. He sprinkles some holy water on Carolyn. The sheet protects her, but okay. She screams, and he drops the holy water. What the fuck, dude? The basement shakes so much that stuff starts falling off the shelves. But the sheet, the rope, and the chair are doing just fine. Outside with Christine, a bird smashes into and shatters the car window. Inside the house, Drew sees a bird smash through the window. A bird smashes through one of the basement windows. What do the birds have to do with anything? They never explain that. Drew hears April crying underneath the floor in the kitchen. It's not the cellar, but it's one of those half crawl space areas. Back with Ed, he says, in the name of Jesus Christ, the saints, and all the angels, I command you to reveal yourself. I haven't read the book, but should the saints be before all the angels? The sheet rips slightly over her face and she's got like a werewolf grandma thing going on. Upstairs, Drew starts ripping apart the floor with a crowbar real recklessly, like, but whatever, he's a man of action. In the basement, the fucking pipes are moving, furniture is shaking, screws are unscrewing themselves, but it just can't seem to get those knots untied. Then it gets real quiet, and everyone is just standing there, saying nothing. Because like a lot of scenes in this movie, there's way too many characters in this scene, and they don't have anything to do or say. Then Carolyn, while still tied to the chair, floats up in the air. So that's not good. She could fly this whole time. She turns upside down. Ed says, "Put her down," in a stern voice a few times. And it does.
Put her down!
She just drops to the floor. So that worked. Just keep doing that. Just keep yelling at it sternly. The ghost witch tries tipping over a big piece of furniture to crush Ed, but it's too slow because Lorraine says, "Look out," and he dives out of the way. He's fine, but they go to check on him and they just leave Carolyn. She sits up laughing. Ed says, "Hold her down, don't let her up." And Roger and Doofy are like, "Oh yeah, whoops." Ed says, "We're losing her, Roger." Now Roger saw how well the put her down thing worked, so he tries yelling at it too. He says, "Let her go, god damn it, let her go." Ed starts saying Latin again. Carolyn looks at Roger and says,
"She's already gone, and now you're all gonna die."
Which is fucking awesome. She should have been saying shit like that the whole time. Earlier, when Doofy used the shotgun to break into the house, when they get to the basement, there's a very distinct clip of him setting it down. So it's like, alright, that's where that is. Remember that. And now we know why that happened. The shotgun tips over slowly and aims at Ed, but Doofy tackles Ed just as the gun shoots. I find it hard to believe that this entity actually wants to kill anybody. Think of how easily people kill each other. And then look at the struggle this thing has. So Drew finds April, and instead of just saving her, he yells, as if they were all searching for her together.
"I found her! She's under the house, under the kitchen!"
And of course the mom hears this, and nobody's restraining her anymore. I guess after missing that one shot, she just gave up on killing everybody. She grabs the scissors and then just scampers into the wall like a rat. Next, this is such a painfully stupid scene. Carolyn finds and gets a hold of April. Easily. I guess Drew gave up on getting her out of the floor as soon as he found her. The other guys, Roger, Ed, and Doofy, they're chasing Carolyn through the floor, which is like a maze of all these little holes that you can crawl through. And they're all too big to fit through the last couple holes. So they're all stuck. Ed says, "Bathsheba!" And then Carolyn's face turns into the witch's face. She screeches at him. He says,
"By the power of God, I condemn you back to hell!"
Would have been nice if he would have got to that final line of the exorcism a little bit sooner. And the poor actor playing Ed, he says this like it's an epic line. Like he's bringing the sword down and slaying the beast. But they show him, and he's just trapped in this little hole. I mean, he did his best. Just then, Lorraine touches Carolyn's head, and she turns back into Carolyn. Lorraine says, "Carolyn, this is your daughter. You can't give in." Ed says, "Roger, we need to get her to fight from the inside." Roger is just calmly like, don't let her do this. You're stronger than her. Come back, Carolyn." And Ed goes, "Keep going, Roger." Roger goes, "You gotta stay with us, alright?"
Keep it going, Roger! You gotta stay with us, alright?
There's no obvious changes happening, but Ed says, "Alright, that's it, Lorraine. Bring her back." Lorraine says, "Remember what you showed me," and uses her touch power thing to replay the memory of the beach day. Carolyn goes, "No." Lorraine goes, "Remember that day you said you'd never forget."
Remember that day that you said you would never forget.
Lorraine is a master of using things that you said against you. Carolyn still looks possessed, but she starts crying. A light shines down on her. I don't know what that is. God? Is it metaphorical light? Or can everyone see it, like actual light? And then looks kinda normal, but smiles at April in the creepiest way. This kid is traumatized for life. Outside, Drew's letting Christine out of the car. No one knows what's been going on with her the whole time. And why is she even there? Why did the mom bring 2 daughters? Why would the filmmakers have her bring 2 daughters if they're not even going to use the one? Like, they could have just had her trying to kill April, And then after they get her free, she runs and hides. That would have made more sense, right? Roger walks Carolyn out, and her hair is all shiny and clean, like a shampoo commercial. Everyone is kind of acting like the exorcism was some cool all-night party, and they're all still a little drunk. Drew and Doofy joke around a little bit about Doofy's bit face. Doofy says, "I'd take a guy with a gun any day." They smile. Cheesy music plays. April brings Lorraine her locket. Lorraine looks at the locket, but doesn't open it up and look at the picture of her daughter. Instead, her and Ed just look at the other family. Ed and Roger have a final moment, and it's like they both acknowledge that, like, hey, this was fun while it lasted. But you know, we both got families to take care of. So then the Warrens get home. Lorraine says, "I'll call Father Gordon, let him know what happened." But then it cuts away to show Ed in the museum, which is too bad, because I would have loved to hear that phone call. She's just like, yeah, Ed did the exorcism without the Vatican's approval. Yeah, I know he's not a priest. Well, we were gonna call you, but there wasn't time. Of course he used holy water. Well, he started to, but it broke. Yeah, just the little vial, that was all we had. No, nobody got hurt. Well, a cop got his face bit pretty badly. Yeah, a cop. No, it was just one cop. There was just one cop there. And it's a good thing he was there, because who would have shut the door open? So then Ed puts the music box on a shelf in the museum. When he turns around, Lorraine is standing in the doorway. It's been about 25 seconds since she picked up the phone to call Father Gordon and let him know what happened. So I guess she gave him the very condensed version. She says, "The Vatican approved the exorcism." Ed laughs and says, "Nice timing."
Nice timing.
But dude, it's been like a day. I think that's a fair response time from the fucking Vatican about whether or not you can do an exorcism for a family of unbaptized non-believers. Lorraine says, "He wants to meet with us tomorrow."
He'd like to meet with us tomorrow. There's a case in Long Island he'd like to discuss.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Maybe spend some time with your fucking daughter first. Jesus Christ. And then there's an Ed Warren quote about nothing. The camera zooms into the mirror of the music box thing, and the music stops playing. And then the movie ends with a terribly ineffective bang. They say when watching a movie, you're supposed to suspend your disbelief. In this movie, you don't just need to suspend your disbelief, you need more belief. You need to believe in ghosts. And not just ghosts, but ghosts that haunt. So ghosts in haunted houses. Ghosts that can do stuff. Manipulate things. Appear and disappear. You have to believe in witches and curses. You have to believe in demons and demonologists and clairvoyance. You have to believe in possession, exorcism, and a good portion of the Roman Catholic faith. This movie has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is 83%. Fucking insane. They spawned so many sequels and spin-offs, and they made so much money. They were so successful. I think they just came out at the right time. And now I'm going to try to get possessed. This is the second movie I've done on here about possession, and it's ridiculous. I have friends that tell each other, like, that stuff happens. That stuff really happens. It happens all the time. I know adults that are afraid of Ouija boards made in China. Anyway, so I'm going to do something a lot of adults I know wouldn't do. I'm doing this just for fun, and also hoping that it calms some of the fears a little bit. This video was requested by my friend Shannon. I'm pretty sure she believes in demons and this stuff, but she knows I don't. And she's friends with me anyway. Alright, candles lit, ambience. We've got the mood. Place it over the G. To protect yourselves, state out loudly that you're only open to positive energy. Fuck that. I'm open to anything. Call upon the spirit world and welcome any kind spirits to talk with us. Or any evil spirits. Any spirits at all. If there's anything here now, ghost, demon, witch, spirit, whatever, just move the thing. Just move the thing. What about help? Move it. Move it at all, anywhere. Do anything. Admittedly, that's asking a lot. Okay. See how easily? I've got to hold my breath so I don't move the flame after I ask the question. So if anything's here, any demons or ghosts, positive, negative, anything, do something with the candle flame. Make it wiggle or dance around. Blow it out like in the movies. Anything. Make it do anything. Please. Okay, and then possession. Possession. If there are any demons or ghosts or whatever, possess me. I want to be possessed. I'm ready, baby. It's all yours. I don't got much going on right now, but you can take it. I won't even sell my soul. You can have it. It's a little worn out. It's a little beat up, but it's free. Does anybody want this soul? Anybody? I know nobody alive wants it. What about the devil? Satan, do you want my soul? Well, it's a piece of shit soul. You can just have it. I don't even want it. Okay. Bathsheba? Special thanks to all my new subscribers, everyone that likes and comments on the videos. It helps a lot. If I'm still here and not possessed, then I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.
Sometimes it's better to keep the genie in the bottle.
What's in the bottle?
And I'd already forgotten about the bird thing. They should have done that intermittently throughout the whole movie. It would have been fun. Just a noise in the background. Every once in a while a thud or a window breaking. Or the outside of the house is just littered with dead birds. Yeah, no, it was like a shotgun. Well, he just used it that one time. The witch did get a hold of it, and she shot at Ed, but she missed, so no big deal. And then for the next 5 minutes during the credits, it's just the horrible score. It just drones on and on. Let us be taken out of the movie now. It's over. He's supposed to bring us back into the real world a little bit now.